On the evening of February 19th of 1994, a emergency room in Riverside, California became the setting for one of the most strangest medical mysteries in all of modern day history. Within minutes, doctors, patients, and nurses all began to start collapsing, you guys. Some couldn't breathe, some lost consciousness, and one experienced very violent muscle spasms. Some were rushed from the very hospital that these nurses and other medical professionals had been trying to save this patient's life. To this day, nobody can say with complete certainty what exactly took place on that evening in that medical room. Was it an incredibly rare chemical reaction? Was it mass hysteria, a laboratory mistake, or something far stranger? This is the mysterious story of Gloria Ramirez, the woman forever remembered as the Toxic Lady. Let's dive right into this creepy story, spooky fam. But before we get started, make sure you smash this like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future strange, dark, and mysterious stories I have for you guys. Now let's dive right into it. Imagine for a minute you walking into your shift that you walk into every day. The fluorescent lights just buzzing above you. The phones are ringing, monitors are beeping steadily in the background. Then, without warning, your coworkers start to collapse around you. That nightmare would unfold shortly after 8:15 p.m. at Riverside Hospital. Paramedics wheeled in a 31-year-old woman named Gloria Ramirez. She was suffering from advanced cervical cancer and she was gravely ill. According to those who were treating her, she was confused and her breathing was very labored and her heart was absolutely racing. The emergency room moved quickly, doing everything they could to stabilize this woman. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but then someone noticed a very odd smell. Several hospital staff would later recall it smelling like garlic. These nurses and medical staff started smelling this weird smell permeating through the air, and some described it as having a fruity, like ammonia smell to the air. One nurse drew blood, and this is when something legendary happened. Floating inside this woman's blood were tiny shimmering particles. They looked like they were shimmering, and nobody knew what it was. And after further examining this vial of blood, the whole room changed. A respiratory therapist would suddenly stumble back and collapse on the ground. Another nurse claimed that she felt nauseated, and then another. And literally the whole room was in utter chaos. Nurses were complaining that their eyes felt like they were burning, their skin was burning. It was a nightmare. But the nightmare didn't end there, because then more people were experiencing the tremors. They would pass out completely. A plethora of these unexplainable symptoms were happening to these people. And of course, the panic started to spread like a rapid fire throughout that emergency room that day. The team that were trying to save Gloria Ramirez were now trying to save themselves. The patients were evacuated, the hallways were filled with complete, utter chaos and confusion, and the medical staff retreated from that room. In total, there was more than 20 of these medical staff experiencing symptoms that night. Several of them required hospitalization. But you guys, that is just where the mystery begun. Some of the staff recovered quickly, but others would take months to recover, you guys. Months. And sadly, despite every effort, Gloria Ramirez ended up passing away that night. But you guys, this is just the beginning of the story. The news ended up spreading very rapidly, of course. We're thinking, how could one patient sicken and make everybody around her ill in such a short amount of time and with these mysterious symptoms? They were starting to begin to wonder, was it some type of industrial chemical that got them all sick? So the conspiracy theories emerged almost immediately. Was it a biological weapon? Even some paranormal theories were starting to float around. Things seemed impossible anymore. Investigators would come in and examine the rooms, but they would of course be head to toe in this gear to protect them from catching whatever these medical staff caught. So they would collect the samples and the air quality was tested. All of the equipment was inspected and everything pointed back to Gloria Ramirez. So it wasn't the hospital staff, it wasn't the hospital, the equipment. Everything pointed back to it being that woman that caused this chaos. Months later, scientists would propose what would be the most widely accepted theory about what happened to Gloria Ramirez and what happened to all of those medical staff. They believed that Gloria was using this pain relieving medication called dimethyl sulfoxide, and it is shortened to DMSO. DMSO was used outside the basic medical settings sometimes back in the day as a topical treatment for pain. So they believed that she was using it topically, and this is what caused all of that chaos and shit to break loose. Investigators had theorized that since she was so critically ill, receiving oxygen, and she was undergoing emergency procedures, that the DMSO on or in her body may have undergone a series of unusual changes. One theory proposed that these reactions produced a highly irritating airborne compound capable of affecting those nearby under very specific circumstances. Some scientists had considered this theory possible, but others thought it was complete bullshit and that it could not be possible. It was a far-fetch. It may not even be possible anyway, but this was the theory that they were giving. These critics had pointed out that the proposed chain of reactions required an extraordinary combination of conditions and has never been conclusively reproduced in a real emergency room setting. And they don't even know if it could be. So the fact that they're bringing this theory upon us, I mean, it's a probability, but it probably didn't happen, is my theory anyway. So there were other theories that started circulating. One was mass psychogenic illness. Sometimes this is called mass hysteria. Could fear itself have spread through the room and caused unknown, weird reactions? Medical history contains documented cases where groups of people believed to be affected by something, believe to be exposed to something dangerous. So if we are all thinking we're in a setting and somebody has a dangerous condition that we don't know about, we could all develop some type of mysterious illness, or it's a psychological thing where we all believe that we are suffering from this or it's dangerous and we're going to get this thing. That's another thing in my mind, thinking, is this a real thing? It's another theory. But here is the problem with that theory. Some people didn't even know that anything unusual was going on before they became sick. So if they didn't know anything about it, then how could they have mass hysteria or panic about it and cause themselves these unreal symptoms? So that's the problem with that theory, is some people didn't even know what was going on and they still developed the sickness by being around her or in that environment at the same time. So was it something invisible that was filling the air? Nobody could say for certain, and that is why it is a mystery today. 30 years later, the question still remains. Was there really crystal-like particles seen in her blood? Why did these experienced medical professionals experience a strange odor that they smelt in the air? Why were some workers affected and others weren't? Why has no identical event ever been documented before? There are so many questions around this mystery, but this shit is fucking weird, you guys. Either way, have you guys heard about this case? It's terrifying to me. What we do know is that Gloria Ramirez came to that hospital that night hoping to be saved. Instead, her final hours became one of medical's great mysteries, debated by toxicologists and whispered about amongst these paranormal investigators. Because was it a strange, mysterious force that caused these illnesses? We'll never really know. And that is why it's a true mystery. Let me know what you guys think of this mysterious story in the comment section down below. I love you guys so very much. Make sure you stay tuned so you don't miss any strange, dark, mysterious stories I have in store for you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys later with another spooky story. Bye.